Welcome to episode 235. Robert F. Smith, second richest Afro-American self-made billionaire, 1962 to 2018. This is an outline of episode 235. There are 5 reasons why we study Robert F. Smith. First, he's the second richest black self-made billionaire in the United States. Second, he's a chemical engineer with 4 patents. Third, he co-founded one of the best performing private equity firms in the U.S., Vista Equity Partner. Fourth, he did all this in just 18 years. Fifth, my friend Shiji recommended him. Robert F. Smith was born in Denver, Colorado in 1962. Both his parents have PhDs and were principals of high school.
I grew up in Colorado, 4th generation from there on my father's side. And I grew up in a neighborhood that was a wonderful neighborhood in many respects. It was very community-oriented. My dad was the principal of the school down the street. My neighbor was a guy by the name of George Brown, was one of the first African-American lieutenant governors. And across the street, I had an African-American congressman who sat a state congress. We had a very diverse community economically as well, but the thing that was most important was education, educational pursuits, and
Bell Lab intern in high school, how Robert F. Smith would not take no for an answer.
And I took a computer class. And from that computer class, I said, wow, this is really interesting. In my teacher, because they weren't professors.
You're in high school now?
In high school.
Yeah.
And I was a junior in high school, and he started telling me about the basic components of a computer and started talking about transistors. And well, what is this transistor? He told me a little bit about it. It was invented at this place called Bell Labs. I said, well, they must have some pretty smart people, though. Let me go check that out. So I go to the guidance counselor and say, what's this place called Bell Labs?
Like,
and they've got
a great story.
Yeah. So I call them and I say, hey, I hear you guys have summer internships. She said, yes, we do. And she said, if you're between your junior and senior year in college, we have internships. I said, that's fantastic. I'm a junior in high school. I'm taking all AP classes. I'm getting all A's in my AP classes. It's the exact same thing. And she said, no, it isn't.
But that didn't stop you.
Of course not. So I literally called her every day for 2 weeks. And then I called her every Monday, because after 2 weeks, I figured Monday after that for 5 months. And I get a call back in June. And they said, listen, a student from MIT didn't show up from time to time, and I got a job at Bell Labs. And that just opened the world for me. Because I saw things. I saw the first cell phones way back when, that took 15 years before they were commercialized. And I saw communication systems, and I saw the applications of science that I would have never known about growing up in my neighborhood. That changed my life. And from that, I told people I discovered the joy of figuring things out.
So
in 1985, he graduated BS in chemical engineering from Cornell University. Then he worked 4 years at Kraft Food, where he earned 2 U.S. patents and 2 European patents. Against his parents' wishes, he quit chemical engineering, enrolled at Columbia Business School, and graduated MBA in 1994.
Pretty well together today. One is technology, and the other is finance. And when I ultimately made a transition, went off to business school, and I'll tell you about that in a second, where I learned how much these people made in investment banking was obscene. I'm a hardworking engineer. I was making $42,000 a year. I didn't think you made any more money than that in the world. And then some of my friends were telling me about what these investment bankers made. They're making hundreds of thousands. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I know these people.
Between 1994 and 2000, he worked 6 years at Goldman Sachs. He became a millionaire in 1999 at the age of 35.
And then at Goldman Sachs in tech investment banking. There he played a key role in mergers and acquisitions involving such major companies as Apple, Microsoft, and Texas Instruments.
Here's how and why he started his company, Vista Equity Partner, in 2000.
Enterprise software. And then I run into this little software company based in Houston, Texas. I take them on as a sell-side project, and through that, I learn how they're running this business. And I say, oh my God, if you actually took what they use as their best practices and laid them across these enterprise software companies, you could make a fortune. I said, what do you guys do with all this money? And they're buying CDs, certificates of deposit. This is 97, 98, 99.
What was going on in your head? Because if you think about it, that was 1999, right, or 2000?
Yeah, 99. So here's where that starts. So now remember, I was an engineer for 6 years. Think about that. So I got a chance in my early part of my engineering career to work on some of the early implementations of software into process industries. Think about it, software, technology, probably the most productive tool introduced in our business economy in the last 50 years. Yeah. They said, what else? I said, if I were you, I would take that money and I'd drive it into these enterprise software businesses. I'd take these best practices that you all have and I'd apply them across these companies and you'll probably do okay. And they said, that's the best idea we've ever heard. Would you be interested in being a general partner if we were the limited partners? And I said, well, I'm not too sure about that. And so that's what led to the formation of Vista.
Yeah. The fourth industrial revolution.
So here's the thing. We are truly in the early stages of the fourth industrial revolution. There is a digitization of every single industry on the planet, and ultimately that will lead to the digitization of every single company in one way, shape, form, or another. You read about it all the time, but you really have to, depending upon what group you're in, you got to get into the bowels of it. What do I mean by that? You have to now start to evaluate what is creating productivity in all its measures at the company level, and what technology, and then to what extent it's going to impact jobs and opportunity. Okay, and what impact is going to, to some degree, disintermediate entire industries. Absolutely. You've seen it. Like, we have these talks about, everybody wants to be a king, right? No, you actually want to be an emperor. Okay, and that's what Bezos has done. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, because now you can actually, disintermediate entire industries if you have the right platform.
Intellectual property is the new currency as the pace of change has accelerated.
Dynamic that they have to embrace is the pace of change has accelerated. Truly, intellectual property, intellectual capital is now the currency of business, and it is the currency of engagement. The ideas, the thoughts, how free-flowing and how quickly they flow, and the impact that they have in the communities and businesses in which they operate. They're going to have to make sure they have, the facility of their minds have to be, frankly, a lot more accelerated.
In 2015, he appeared on the Forbes list of billionaire for the first time. The same year, he married Hope Warasik, who was the Playboy Playmate of the Year 2010. He was 52, she was 30. Together, they have 2 children. In 2016, he donated $50 million to Cornell University to create the Robert Frederick Smith School of Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering. Music has always been his passion. He became the first Black American to be a chairman of Carnegie Hall. He also donated $20 million to the National Museum of African American History and Culture, second only to the $21 million donated by Oprah Winfrey. Brian Sheth, co-founder of Vista Equity Partner in 2000, also became a billionaire in 2017.
In a real dollar term, every $1 billion that we invest in environmental preservation has about 110x return. Clean water, clean air, and clean food, which are all pretty important, but actually direct benefits to folks in terms of arable farmland, soil preservation, things like that.
What have I learned today? First, now in his 50s, Robert F. Smith is a very busy man with marriage, foundation, charity, and community work. Second, we all can learn and benefit from his idea on the fourth industrial revolution. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave your questions and comments below. My next video will be Robert F. Smith, 12 Lessons. Wishing everyone peace and prosperity.